else in that area that I'm like really that interested in. I'm not really interested in him, but just looking at the guys that are around him, I guess if the last spot in my lineup was like 8,700 or less, that might be the place that I go. I'm just not starting my first 3 or 4 golfers with him.
So there's a couple names in here I want to talk about. Uthseisen always is an interesting play. Lefty, of course, and Patrick Reed. Hit me with these 3 guys before we get a little lower.
For me, it's fade on those 3. To be honest with you, Louis 2 up and down shows up. He's like Brooks Koepka light. Like Xander is Brooks Koepka light because he always shows up in majors. Finished top 3 again last week. Louis, he's like the next rung down, but he's normally in the 7K range as far as majors go. I don't like Louis this week coming off a good performance. Mickelson, no thank you. And then Patrick Reed, just his long-term form is just absolutely awful. Even though he's got a good course history here, I can't do it. In the 8K range, I'm pretty much at Bubba, and then going down to the lower part, 83 or below.
So you'd mentioned Streelman in the opening.
I do like Streels. He's got very good course history, and he came in off of a very good performance, a hot Sunday at the Memorial. And I also like a very similar style of player down there in the lower 8K range in Charlie Hoffman. He's coming in with 3 straight top 25s at this event. He's got some decent recent form. I think he emceed at the Memorial, but before that he was really rounding into form. He finished 3rd here a couple of years ago. I like Hoffman a lot. I like Streelman a lot. Both those guys have pretty good course history here. Streels, of course, winning in 2014, finished 8th 2 years ago, and he's in good form. So these shorter courses, the times that he has to take advantage of the courses that actually fit him, I'm all over Streelman, as I have been at certain events this year.
All right. So looking down, so we talked about Victor Hovland, his first shot as a pro this week. What do you feel about him this week?
So we're dipping down into the 7K range.
Yeah, might as well. Let's keep it rolling.
I'm cool with that. I'm actually off of Victor this week. He's never seen the course before. I got a couple guys in that same price range I like a lot more. I think he's going to be a hot name that comes in more highly owned than he should be, and I'm avoiding him for that reason. I'm hoping he can take some ownership off of Griot and Benyon, who are both priced right around him. That's kind of what I'm banking on this week, is those 2 guys being lesser owned than Hovland, although I think they're probably going to be pretty similar. I'm not high on Victor this week. He's got great long-term prospects, just not this week for me.
Fair enough.
Can I interrupt this program for a very special announcement?
Of course you can. Oh, yeah. You know the way to my heart, my friend. You know the way to my heart.
That's what I was going for.
Hey, did you have some Mike Trout? Is that what you said?
I do have some Mike Trout. Unfortunately, he's with Trevor Williams, so I don't know if it's going to turn out.
Well, he hit a grand slam.
Yeah, I see the 36 points. I just was looking at that as you were bringing that up. So, if Austin Riley and Ronald Acuna Jr. All tear it up for me, then it could work out. But having Trevor Williams in that lineup has really hurt.
Yeah, no, it's not looking good for me, and I don't even have most of my guys playing.
The only way to get Acuna and Trout in the lineup, though, is I have Trevor Williams and Ponce de Leon as my pitchers. So it wasn't. It was a long shot to begin with.
That's not true. That's not true. You had Max Fried. You had the guy from Cleveland.
I could have gone Fried, but I just had this thing. Trevor Williams first day back off the DL, going against the lowly Tigers in Pittsburgh. I just really liked that lineup.
That makes sense. The guy that has 1 rehab start for 3 innings is definitely stretched out, and he's gonna have a great.
I liked it because I didn't think anybody else would like him. That's why I liked him. Hey, he's got 5 points for me. It might work out.
Well, Wilson Contreras also hit a grand slam, so
I don't have any of him, so that's not good. Yeah,
and
but I'm winning $10. I'm Chris. I'm winning $10.
Nice. How much did you play?
$9.
Oh yeah, there we go. Anyway, let's get back into it. What price range are we at?
We were just talking about the top of the 7K range.
Okay.
So, Danger, by my calculations, you're winning $1. Is that right? Or are you winning $10?
No, I am winning $10, sir.
He's winning $10. He's going to get the crowns for $10.
This is so confusing. I'm never going to understand. So we're working down below the 7,800 range price point.
Well, what's wrong with Emilio Grillo? You don't want to talk about him?
Nope. I love Emiliano Grillo. I think he's a fantastic ball striker. The course fits him well. If his putting flips, which is always the big if with that guy, much like Luke List and Tony Finau, some of our favorites, he could very easily contend this week. So I like Grillo. I like Benny On a lot. He's shown very, very consistent form over the last couple months.
Well, I think the only time I've actually won any money in our weekly league is when I had my token Asian, so I might have to throw him in there.
And the guy does look like he's token. If you look at his picture, dude, he looks high. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Might be. I've never heard whether or not he enjoys the toke occasionally. The toke for the token.
He is from Florida, and he likes playing in Florida. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, the dude has finished 17th, 16th in the Memorial and the U.S. Open. He's coming into form here, so I like his recent form. I'm riding the hot streak. Below him, though, I don't love anybody in the upper 8K or upper 7K range until we get down a little bit lower. So anybody you guys are liking there, kind of in the mid to upper 7K range at all?
Give me a little bit of love for Russell Knox, would you?
Yeah, I can get down with that. He's a fellow Scotsman. I like the Scotsman. Hasn't shown great form this year, but he is, I guess, a decent course fit, given that he's won here. Yeah, that's all I got on him.
Yeah, all right. Let's get a little lower. How about Sam Burns, our darling from a few weeks ago that completely crashed and burned on us?
Yeah, I actually don't mind Sam Burns this week. I think he could be in a spot to bounce back at very low ownership. I like
first time on the course though.
Yeah, that's fine. He's got a lot of talent, man. The guy can make birdies when he's on, so I'm banking on him being on this week. Man, there just aren't that many guys that I love until we get down towards the bottom.
What about my favorite Aussie?
Which one?
Aaron Baddeley, of course.
Oh, Baddeley. Why do you like him so much?
I just like his name.
All right. Well, I don't like his game, so we're going to skip him. Chesson Hadley coming off a major top 10. I mean, that's enticing, but I'm actually liking a couple guys. Sung Kang at 7,300 makes a ton of birdies when he's on his game. He plays well at shorter courses, so I am taking a chance on him. Matthew Wolff, who is just an absolute stud, up-and-coming, former amateur, just turned pro. He's at 7,300. I like Matt Wolff a lot. He absolutely bombs the ball, so he'll be able to take advantage of these par fives. Probably hitting a lot of wedges into the par fours. So despite the fact that he's here for his first time, unlike Victor, who's way overpriced, I do like Matt Wolff at 7,300.
There's some names that we have been on a little bit. There's quite an interesting group of players here in the low 7,000s with Sung Kang, Watney, Damon, Max Homa, who won some money for somebody a little while back, Cam Smith, the Barn Rat. No love for any of these guys.
I mean, Cam Smith just has not shown the promise that I was hoping he would this year. He's had a very big struggle of a year. And I actually talked about him last week. I think he was one of our big disappointments last week at the U.S. Open. He really struggled, and I'm not loving him this week at this course. A couple guys I do like at the bottom of the 7K range. Brian, we already talked about Sam Burns. Brian Stewart's been very solid throughout the year. Made a cut at the U.S. Open, although he didn't finish very high. He's a very good course fit because he does hit a lot of fairways, a lot of greens, very good with his mid to long irons. And then a guy that I haven't heard much talk about whatsoever, who is just kind of a plotter, doesn't make a ton of birdies, but I think he'll be a very high chance to make the cut, is JT Poston. We've talked about the Postman before. I think this is one of the courses that fits him well, much like a Streelman or a Knox. So I like Poston as well, and pretty much fading most of the other guys in the 7K range. We could talk about last week. I'm going with a pretty condensed player pool, so I'm not putting a lot of these guys in my lineups, but kind of picking my spots here. And I like Stewart and Poston at the bottom of the 7K range.
Dig it. Chris, you got anything to add?
Not from a golf perspective. I do have some funny. I have a funny Twitter thing.
Yes,
it just popped. So the sources are that Space Jam 2, starring LeBron James, is expected to feature key roles for Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson, as well as WNBA stars Diana Taurasi and Nga Mike. I don't know how to say her name. Several more NBA and WNBA players, including Chini Mike, are expected to play roles in the film. Barry McCockiner goes ahead and comments that the Monstars will finally have somebody to cook them pregame meals.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right.
That's all I got.
All right, let's go back to my my lower end darling here. The guy that I am all over, that has been on my list since we started looking at this tournament, Vaughn Taylor. Vaughn Taylor is my money-saving guy. Vaughn Taylor is my dude. He's going in my lineup.
You know, I actually had some Vaughn Taylor in my first build this week and have gotten off of him. I can't fault you for it, but man, I think he's got a good chance this week. It's his kind of course. He likes those shorter courses where you got to hit a lot of fairways and greens, don't need to bomb the ball. Why was he a guy you've targeted since the beginning?
I just like his game fits some of these stats we've been looking at. Scrambling, a few other things that I just thought looked really good. And he was one of the higher guys, probably in the top 15 of some of the stats that I was looking at, and significantly the cheapest player in that group of guys. So I just looked at the data I was looking at, the rankings and the metrics we were comparing, and just looking that he was significantly the cheapest guy in the highest end of those rankings.
Fair enough. Don't mind it at all. He tends to pop certain weeks where you're like, Vaughn Taylor's on the leaderboard, and then he just stays there and contends, and usually pisses you off because you don't have any of him. But I don't hate it, man. That's not a bad call. You slip
a guy in at 6,700, it really opens the rest of the field up for you.
Oh, no doubt. A few of the guys I actually do like in the 6,000 range. I don't hate Vaughn Taylor, but the guys that I targeted, I think Nick Taylor has looked pretty solid over his last few events. He's at $6,900. Very good number there. I also like looking at strokes gained approach guys who kind of pop down here. Mullinax is hard to ignore. I know he's more of a bomber, but I could see him take advantage of the par fives, hitting shorter shots into the par fours. He's kind of been a little bit of a show darling this year as well. A guy that popped for me, who I almost was shocked at, was Cameron Tringali at 6,700. He's actually 15th in the field in strokes gained approach over his last 50 rounds. That's really hard to ignore. He's kind of like a middle-of-the-pack putter, but I can definitely see him popping this week. He's shown some good signs this year. I think he's trending the right direction. Someone opened it.
It's just another candidate's official.
I was about to say that sounded like a Bell's product.
How the hell did you know that?
Because that's what he bought.